The sequel to Breath of the Wild got delayed until spring next year, so to get my Zelda fix, I replayed my favorite title, The Wind Waker. There's 49 different islands to sail to in the game, and while playing I thought to myself, man, I'd swap the poop deck to go to some of these islands, but others just are the poop deck, so I decided to rank them all. Here are all 49 islands in The Wind Waker ranked, from worst to best. In my humble opinion, of course. Now, let's go! Oh shit, I mean... Oh! Number 49, the Starbell Archipelago. This island comes first, but finishes last. Same. For real though, this island sucks. It's pretty much just 7 rocks. They're in the shape of the constellation Orion, which like, cool, but also not at all. The 5-star isles are basically the number 5 version of the 7 rocks, the last one. They're only above because to me, less rocks equals less suck. Plus, they sound like a fancy hotel, which, neat. Crescent Moon Island leaves nothing to the imagination. It's an island, or more like a rock. Sure do be shaped like the moon, though. Five Eye Reef's the first of 6 islands called Dice Islands. They're all pretty similar, but like in every family, the least favorite has to stay behind to take the pictures. You know who I'm talking about. On episode 2 of Less Rock Equals Less Suck, we have the Three-Eyed Reef. That is all. Eastern Fairy Islands number 44 and the worst of the fairy islands. Why is this island so bad, you might ask? Olivio. All my homies hate Olivio. Number 43 is the Southern Triangle Island. These islands are pretty boring and the only purpose is to put down the 3 pearls. Nehru's Pearl doesn't have a dungeon connected to getting it, so this island's at the bottom. And you know, I like a little chase, a little fight back. The Eastern Triangle Island's basically the same, but for Farore's Pearl, which has a dungeon attached to it, so small victories. The Northern Fairy Island's probably the first fairy island you'll go to, so it gets some merit there. Plus it's shaped like a little heart. How cute. The Southern Fairy Island's basically the same island, just flipped on her belly, but lets you be creative with the ability to bomb or burn your way in. The Western Fairy Island gets a slight edge because it gives me the opportunity to use the Skull Hammer. Enough said. Hammer? Hardly know her. The Thorn Fairy Island also uses the Skull Hammer to enter, which is always a plus. For being the cool Thorn one though, I declare this the best fairy fountain. At 37, I chose the Northern Triangle Island. This is a bit higher than the others because it's the first you'll likely go to and feels a little bit more magical than the other 2. Cyclops Reef is the one-eyed dice reef. It has a cool name. Congratulations, I applaud you. Bird's Peak Rock is the negative reason for wanting to even do this video. The enemy birds here while controlling the seagull are so annoying, and if you're bad at video games like me, they're especially annoying. Heading out of the negative and into the meh is Overlook Island at number 34. You get a hook shot up little towers and also get the secret cave chart here. Pretty cool. Stonewatcher Island is the island that resonates with me most. It's incredibly average, but still gets head. The Cliff Plateau Isles have a somewhat interesting layout and also house a jump flower for...
Parkour!
Six Eye Reef is another dice island, and 6s on dice are awesome. Except this is not really a dice, and it's not that awesome. Shark Island is shaped like a shark, and that is dope as shit. Angular Isles finally has something to do. There's a little block puzzle that tremendously challenges the mind, and I will go into no further detail. The 7-star Isles is like the worst on the list, except it looks like the Big Dipper, which is a lot cooler than Orion. Also, lots of bonus points for a big octo fight. I'm not sure why, but I love fighting them. I think they're so fun. Squid for the whole family. Two Eye Reef has another big octo fight, which is way cooler than all of the bomb turrets at the other dice islands. Bomb Island has a piece of heart and a traveling merchant. Bomb Island is also shaped like a bomb, and that is dope as shit. Star Island is shaped like a star, and that is not as dope as a bomb or a shark, but it's still pretty rad. Also, Oaken lives here, and I mean, come on, look at this dude. The Islet of Steel is purely here because it sounds cool and looks cool. This island rounds out the meh and into the pretty good. At number 23 is Horseshoe Island. You can probably tell, but the shaped islands are fun, so they all get extra points for it, like bombs and sharks. This island also has a golf minigame. Not necessarily my shoe size, but things to do on the island is what I'm looking for when I'm exploring them, so here you go. Rock Spire is pretty much just a straight line. The whole line is a linear puzzle to get a treasure chart at the end. Treasure charts are honestly kinda lame prizes to me, but I think the little challenge is fun enough. Tingle Island is just Tingle Island. It's home to Tingle and David. And David is dope as shit, but also oppressed. We should probably just move on now, I think. Great Fish Isle is finally an island that's pretty important to the story. It's destroyed and there's not much to do here, but it does provide plot and backstory as to why it's destroyed. Very cool. Paw Print Isle is shaped like a paw, so it takes the cake on most of the other shaped islands. It also has 2 different caves to explore, which is awesome, but unfortunately my girlfriend said I'm only allowed to explore 1. Needle Rock Isle has a lot going on. It has an interesting shape and reminds me of something I can't quite put my finger on. You can also get a heart piece using a Hoi pear and calling a seagull, which is always charming and fun, except for when it's not. And there's also a golden warship here to defeat in battle and get a Triforce chart, which I gotta say is the only time I really want to fight one of these guys. Maybe an unpopular opinion, I don't know, but also I don't care. Diamond Step Island is just pretty. It gets pretty points. I want to actually go here. There's a fun maze too, and a waterfall, and just sign me up. Number 16 isn't even called an island, it's just the boating course. Obviously there's a fun boating minigame here, which is pretty fun to play, but the main reason this is so high is Loot the Sailor. Oh, I'd loot Loot's booty from port to starboard, if you know what I mean. Speaking of loot, the 4-Eye Reef tops all the Dice Islands at number 15 because of its awesome treasures. You can get the Great Fairy chart here and a treasure chart that allows the finding of the Piece of Heart chart. Both very good finds. Plus my OCD enjoys this square. Spectacle Island is a nod to all of the spectacle formations throughout the Zelda series, so I had to have it as the highest shaped island. Not to mention it houses Salvatore and the barrel shoot minigame. Ice Ring Isle is a real mini dungeon rather than just a small puzzle, finally. This island gives a 5-minute timer to navigate and retrieve the iron boots. Plus, the dragon head looks super awesome. The Mother and Child Isles are much bigger and more important than all of the fairy fountains. You get the fire and ice arrows here, which aren't only necessary, but also super fun to play around with. The creepy queen of fairies is here too as a memorable character, and the fact that you have to come back here after getting the ability to fast travel is a cool natural roadblock. The flight control platform just barely doesn't make it in the top 10. People might argue that there's no way this is the most fun minigame island, but my nostalgia disagrees. I remember so vividly spending hours trying to win the prize for this game. I realize now that it's pretty easy, but things were different back for me in the day. Bottoming out the top 10 is the Forsaken Fortress. You come here twice, the first time being a stealth mission, and the second time coming back to wipe out all the enemies, which is a super cool premise. The Helmarok King and Phantom Ganon fights are awesome, and I can see why this would be some people's favorite location in the game. For me, having played Wind Waker so young though, this place used to scare the living dookie out of me, and I am seriously not a fan of spooky things. It's not as scary now, obviously, but those old emotions of just being so scared kind of hamper my experience still today. You come upon a small oasis island with a shack that you cannot enter. Later, after giving a teacher a ton of presents, you get to now own this island. It's a nice break from battle, kind of in the middle of the game, and happy places like this just tend to charm me. At number 9, the Private Oasis. Fire Mountain is kind of like Ice Ring Isle. It's a puzzle with a 5-minute timer and you get a prize, that being the power bracelets instead of the iron boots. But this one, oh my god, just look at it. It's a volcano in the middle of the ocean. Just look at it. It's so cool. Dare I say it? It's dope as shit. Sorry, I got excited. A much more calming place up next, the Forest Haven. The Koroks live here, and I just love the Koroks. They're so cute. The Deku Tree, not as cute, but hey, we don't shame around here. You get the Boomerang, which is a classic item, and the Deku Leaf, which is a Wind Waker exclusive, but they're both super fun to use in this game. The actual dungeon is very mystical, and I like it a lot. I don't know, something about jungles. Terraria does it really good too. At number 6 is Headstone Island, which houses the Earth Temple. The Earth Temple is as spooky as it gets in this cutesy game. Needless to say, this dungeon scared me more than the Forsaken Fortress did when I was a kid. But there's a reason it's higher up. When I beat this game when I was young, I never actually played through this dungeon myself. My mom beat it for me because I was just that scared. She played all the way up to the boss and then I beat it because, well, this dude ain't scary. I have played it myself by now though, and the command melody can be a little annoying, but besides that, this is a fun dungeon. Gale Isle is number 5 and hides the entrance to the Wind Temple. The Wind Temple uses the command melody like the Earth Temple, but I get to control Makar, which is undoubtedly the better sidekick. Fight me. I also just love the Wind God's aria. It hits spots in my ears I didn't even know were there. And the Mulgara boss fight music is more epic than it has the right to be. I also prefer the brighter atmosphere to the darker atmosphere of the Earth Temple because, as I have now revealed, I am a wimp. I'm proud of it. The Tower of the Gods is a cool place in its own right, with the build-up and the epic rising of the tower and the Godon boss fight. It's the end result of the first half of challenges the game threw at you. But the Tower of the Gods kind of cheats its way all the way up to the 4th spot, because it also allows you to go underneath the sea. And do you know what's down there? You get the Master Sword, fight a bunch of frozen dudes that aren't frozen anymore, and eventually fight the final boss and stab the angry guy in the face. If you like cool places, this is your number 1. And I like cool places, but I like happy places more, as you'll see shortly. Very shortly, in fact. Number 3, Outset Island. This is where it all begins, and I'm a sucker for beginnings. I'm a weirdo. I played through just the beginnings of so many games so many times, just because I really do prefer the happy vibes at the start of adventures compared to the threatening ones like 75% through games. I like my World 1s and my first gyms and my Green Hill zones. They're just so nice. And Outset Island is nice. I feel at home here. Grandma's here. Old men are here. Snot Boy's here. Big Pig is here. The following adventure is great, don't get me wrong, but this is where it all starts. The Outset. The runner-up island today is Dragon Roost Island. This is the first real dungeon with a key item and boss and stuff in the Wind Waker, and is my favorite one. The first thing I have to say about this island is the music. The music is just something else. It's the epitome of a tropical island adventure and will never fail to put a smile on my face. I'm having trouble actually saying stuff about the island itself, and I apologize for the lack of details, but I just love it. I love the environment, I love the volcano and lava, and I love that the end goal is to save a dragon. The boss fight with Goma is as epic as it gets, swinging over lava on a rope. I love climbing around the outside of the volcano and being super high up, and dungeon aside even, I love the Rito. I love the mail game. I even like the little wind shrine thing down in the water. This island just screams tropical atmosphere, and it's the perfect first dungeon for an ocean-based Zelda game. I just love it. That I just love it. Finally, number 1 is Windfall Island. This island isn't the beginning of the adventure, nor is it the first dungeon of the adventure, but just a small town with a lot of personality. Why do I love it so much? I'm not even sure, to be honest. I have a theory though. Let me set it up. You're me, domidoodle. You're like 5. This dungeon, Forsaken Fortress, is literally making you cry. You're so scared of it. You're so scared of getting caught by moblins. You barely make it through. You get caught by a giant bird and flung into the ocean. What could be next? I mean, I'm basically playing a horror game at this point, aren't I? I arrive in a small cove somewhere. I leave the cove, and boom! There's this bustling town with friendly faces. There's kids running around. There's a guy dancing. The music is jolly. What a relief. Everything is okay. I think in the roots of my brain, there's a calming sensation whenever I think of Windfall Island that goes back to when I was a kid playing this for the first time. There's a lot to do here too. There's people to talk to and side quests to enjoy. You're far from home, but you're not alone. You've grown up a little bit. This is the big city to Outset Island's small town. This is the hub where you spend a ton of your time, at least I did. So much time that it becomes your, or my, favorite island in the game. What's your favorite island? Let me know in the comments below, and if you're still watching, thank you. Obviously you enjoyed yourself if you made it this far, so hey, leave a like and subscribe to see if I ever upload again. But with that, mwah, bye.